I visited my son-in-law's farm, only to find my daughter chained in the barn. The barn smelled of damp straw and rusted iron. I shouldn't have gone in. My son-in-law told me the animals were restless, not to disturb them. But silence has a way of drawing me deeper, especially when it feels staged. Then I heard it. Not an animal, a whimper. I followed the sound, boots pressing into wet hay. The dim light pushed through a broken window, casting her shape against the shadows. My daughter, thin, pale, shackled by a chain wrapped around her ankle. She looked up at me, and in that moment, my blood turned to ice. "Dad!" Her voice cracked, a whisper of someone half-broken. I cut the chain with trembling hands, each strike echoing like thunder. When the last link fell, she collapsed into my arms. Behind me, a door creaked, his voice smooth, cold. Animals stay with animals. Her husband, my son-in-law. He leaned against the doorway, a smirk breaking across his face. His arrogance reeked stronger than manure. For a moment, I wanted to strike him down. But rage is useless if it doesn't have teeth. So instead, I said nothing. I carried her out of that barn. We vanished into the night. But before the silence swallowed him whole, his phone rang. He answered. His face drained of color. His body shook. And then he pissed himself. The drive back was wordless. She sat in the passenger seat, her eyes fixed on the window, as though the dark fields outside might erase the months she spent in that prison. I didn't ask questions, not yet. My mind was already dissecting what I'd seen. Chains, hay for a bed, a husband who thought himself untouchable. But what unsettled me most wasn't her condition, it was his fear. That phone call. Whoever was on the other end made him crumble in a way I never could. At home, I wrapped her in blankets, made tea, watched her hands shake when she tried to hold the cup. "I tried to call you," she whispered. "He took my phone, said I belonged to him." Her words cut, but I stayed calm. She didn't need my rage. She needed my precision. "Who was on that call?" I asked. She shook her head. "I don't know. He always stepped outside when they rang. Always angry, always afraid after." That detail lodged itself in me like a blade. He wasn't the monster he pretended to be. He was a puppet, and someone else was pulling his strings. Betrayal is a disease. It spreads through silence until someone bleeds. And now I wanted the truth. I began with his phone records. I had my ways, quiet ways, friends in quiet places. His recent calls repeated a single number, unlisted. Burners, disposable but not invisible. I traced them through fragments, hotel routers, abandoned farmhouses, a trail stitched by someone cautious. But not cautious enough. My daughter slept in the next room. She tossed, whimpered, clutched the blanket as though it might chain her again. I stood in the hallway, staring at her door. Each sound from her room stoked the fire in my chest, but my face never cracked. Anger is a mask men wear when they don't know how to plan. I wasn't angry. I was surgical. The calls led me to an account. Payments funneled. A name I hadn't spoken in years. My ex-wife. Her mother. The woman who left us when my daughter was barely 10. Now the puzzle fit together. The barn, the chains, the phone calls. He wasn't protecting himself. He was following orders. And my ex-wife was pulling the strings. I confronted him first. Quiet, controlled. I drove back to his farm at dawn, when men like him still slept heavy with false power. He opened the door, eyes swollen from fear more than fatigue. I didn't speak. I slid a folder across the table. Phone logs, bank transfers, her name. He froze. His lips parted, But no sound emerged. Why? I asked. It was not rage, just a question. His hands shook. He tried to explain. Money, threats, her promises. She told him he'd own the land, the farm, the inheritance if he kept her daughter in line. He thought he was winning, until that call, until I cut the chains. "She'll kill me," he whispered. I leaned in close, my voice cold as steel. "No, she already has." The truth broke him. His arrogance vanished, replaced with the hollow gaze of a man who finally sees his leash. I didn't confront my ex-wife with shouting. That would have given her satisfaction. Instead, I sent her something she couldn't ignore: video. My daughter chained, begging for freedom. Her husband's confession, recorded in my pocket. Every detail documented, cataloged, undeniable. I emailed it to her. No words, just the evidence. The silence that followed was louder than any scream. By the end of the week, she was gone, disappeared from her city, her friends, her little empire of lies. But before she vanished, she tried calling me. Once, twice, dozens of times. I never picked up. She wasn't worthy of my voice. And my son-in-law? The farm was no longer his. He sold it cheap, desperate to escape the shadows she left behind. But shadows follow. He'll never escape. Not from her, not from me. He knows I'm watching. My daughter sleeps in a real bed now. The chains are gone, though the scars around her ankle remain. She hides them beneath socks, but I see them. Always. Sometimes she asks if her mother will come back. I tell her no. Not because I believe it, but because lies can be softer than truth. I don't care where her mother hides. The truth is enough. It rots her from the inside. That's her punishment. And him, the husband who called her animal? He'll wake every night expecting footsteps at his door. He'll check every call, every shadow, wondering if it's me. It won't be. Because the most perfect revenge is silence. And silence is what I leave them. I look at my daughter as she finally sleeps without trembling, and I know the final truth. They thought they chained her, but they were the ones bound, and I was the one who cut the rope.